Welcome to the Roberto Clemente Museum here in Puerto Rico. I just did an interview and I thought it'd be nice to roll around and show you what this space is going to be like. This is opening up this Thursday at 6 a.m., February 20th, here in San Juan, Puerto Rico area. And I'll take you into the other room. It's still being set up, but I thought it should be cool to show you what's happening and encourage you not to miss the opportunity. So as you can see, things are still being set up right now. So all this space is being redone to honor this incredible man. Well, don't miss it. Please come. It's a great opportunity for you to come and celebrate just not only one of the greatest baseball players, but certainly one of the greatest humanitarians that's ever lived. And there's so much to see, so much to share, and it's a great way to keep his legacy alive and to encourage your soul, right? That's a lot of what it means to honor men and women that have passed. It's to be reminded of greatness and the fact that you too can be great. Welcome to the Clemente Museum here in Puerto Rico, my second home, one of my favorite places in the world.
Incredible place.
It is incredible, and it sounds like what you have done to honor the Clemente family and Roberto Clemente is quite an effort, and I imagine many, many people are super grateful for what you and your team have done. So tell me a bit about yourself and how you got involved.
Well, I'm a commercial photographer,
Okay.
and I did a calendar on Roberto Clemente back in 1994.
Yeah.
And I got to go to Roberto Clemente's house. And he had passed away at that point, but I get to meet his widow, Vera Clemente.
Yeah.
And when I go there, I'm not a hugger. She's a big hugger. She's hugging me, and I'm like, I'm hugging an angel.
Wow.
So for me to go and see his house and walk across a bridge over a moat,
Yeah.
where he once stood, and it was just an out-of-body experience for me. And then I started helping her with photographs. So that's why our exhibit here is predominantly photography.
Yeah.
Like this baby right behind us here.
Yeah.
I'm a photographer. We find old negatives and
Right.
images, and we try to restore them. So I built an archive to help her, because everything here in Puerto Rico gets wet eventually.
Yeah.
So her house got hit by Hugo in 1989 and got flooded,
Wow.
and a lot of her images were ruined.
Yeah.
And I told her I would help her, and that started our relationship, and she liked that I was doing these things to keep her husband's images alive.
Yeah.
And then she asked me to do a party for the 2006 All-Star Game at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, and I was honored to do the party, and it changed my whole life.
Wow.
We put this party on. I moved out of my photography studio. I moved to another floor in my building. We have an 1800s restored fire station in Pittsburgh, and I moved upstairs and allowed her party to happen, and
Yeah.
we made her really happy. When she walked in for the party,
Wow.
she's like, it's like a museum here now. And I was
Wow.
like, wow.
Such a great response.
Yeah, so better word than archive. No one knows what an archive even is. So to hear a museum, they were like,
Yeah.
wow, this is special. So we started giving tours the day after the party.
Wow.
And we've never stopped, and we've been expanding and growing. And we did a couple traveling exhibits with a man named Ralph Paniagua. We went to New York City, and then we went to Miami. And while we were doing those, we're like, well, wouldn't it be great to go to Puerto Rico someday? And then he meets the mayor of Guaynabo at a Yankees game in New York City, and they said, let's bring it to Guaynabo. And so that's how we ended up at this museum. And once I saw photos and saw that it's made of marble,
Yeah.
you're not going to get wet
quite
and
a
moldy in
place.
here. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pretty beautiful place. So we thought, wow, let's try. So we started working on the details, and it
Yeah.
took months and months. And then there was a few storms and earthquakes and different bumps in the road. But we're here now. We're building an exhibit, and we open on the 20th. And it's going to be pretty spectacular. So to bring him back to Puerto Rico, that's pretty magical.
Yeah. Well, not only are you articulate, you're also a bit of a soft-spoken man. You're the type of guy that people
Okay.
lean in to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to bring the microphones closer. That's all. That's all that's
I hope my
happening.
wife's not watching. She always says, huh? So yeah, I speak kind of quiet.
That's why we have these mobile wireless mics. Tell me more about the photo. I understand you actually found it and it was discarded, and it was kind of like this amazing photo. And maybe describe the photo a bit more
Yeah.
for those that don't immediately see why it's so powerful.
This one's about as beautiful as it gets. So
Yeah.
the negative that made this photo was in a dumpster in Pittsburgh when our morning paper was buying out the afternoon paper. And so an old timer, it wasn't me that got in the dumpster, and I've been in dumpsters before,
Yeah.
but I didn't even know that this was happening. This guy gets up in the dumpster and he's grabbing negatives, and he hears that I start this archive for the Clementes, and he was like, he'll probably buy these negatives off of me. So he shows up with a shoebox, about 250 negatives, only 13 Clementes,
Wow.
but this one is in it. And I literally grab it by just chance, and I held it up to the light in my studio, and I was like, wow, it's got beautiful clouds,
Right.
beautiful detail. I didn't know. It took us 3 months to see
Wow,
the angel
wow,
rings.
wow,
We
wow.
just saw a gorgeous negative, and then we started making prints and expanding and dodging and burning. This is back in the 90s. There's no Photoshop. There's no scanners. We're still making traditional prints, and we're trying to bring the clouds in. And so when you start seeing some of what's going on in that image, his feet are off the ground.
Right. Right.
The ball's kind of hanging up there on
That's
the top.
right.
The hand, if you go and look at the Clemente statue that Susan Wagner did at PNC Park, that's the hand that she sculpted. That's
awesome.
I mean, it's everything about this image
Yeah.
is breathtaking.
Yeah, for those that are listening in real time on Amazon Alexa, it's nice that you described it to them.
Yeah.
But also they can go, we're live streaming on all the major social media platforms. So if you want to see what we're talking about, head there right now. Tell me about the bat that's in your hand. You know, obviously you're holding on to it for a reason. So tell me a bit about that.
because I'm always excited we have these bats made by Jack Marucci, who's a Pittsburgher, and we do it so that we can let players swing and touch a bat of his weight and length. So he was swinging pretty much the heaviest bat in the major leagues, 38 ounces.
Yeah.
36 inches. Albert Pujols, who's a friend of mine, and Puig, and from Carlos Beltran to Yachty to all these guys, they swing 31 and a half ounce, usually 34 inch.
Yeah.
This is 7 ounces heavier
Yeah.
than those guys. Clemente was not a big guy. He was 5'10",
Wow.
170 pounds. So he wasn't big, but he threw the javelin in high school, and he built up these shoulder muscles, and so he swung the big bat, and he got 3,000 hits with one.
Amazing.
And players today say that nobody today can hit against these pitchers with this weight bat. And I say Roberto Clemente could, because he knew how to get around on it. He was very unorthodox.
Yeah.
And so he got 3,000 hits with a heavy bat. So he was doing something right.
Yeah. Now, how can people support the museum? You know, you and I are both wearing hats. We're both wearing T-shirts.
Yes.
Is merch a way that people can kind of support the effort of honoring Roberto Clemente, keeping his history in front of people? Like, tell me a bit about some of the things that we have on and what's
we do
available.
sell our stuff online. We have some pretty cool hats and
Hey, you're not
shirts
getting it
and-
back.
Yeah, no, you got to keep that.
It's mine now.
Spread the love of 21. Eddie Vedder wears that on stage, singing for Pearl Jam with a flannel shirt over top. He opens it up and he'll talk about Roberto Clemente on stage. I mean, that's pretty. And he talks about he wasn't maybe the greatest player to ever play, but he was the greatest humanitarian to ever play. So that's what we're
More
trying to spread
important.
the love. We want to spread the love of Roberto, what he was doing off the field.
Yeah.
You can Google search his stats in baseball. We want people to know what he was doing, helping kids and going to Children's Hospital and working for the Pittsburgh Center for the Blind and doing all these things for charity.
Yeah.
And so we try to inspire people to go be like Roberto.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So here's actually a real bat of his. This is one that he was swinging the day of the 3,000th hit. So this is one of the last bats.
So
that has mojo. That has
this got the 3,000th hit.
well, not the actual one that he hit. We don't know for 100%.
It's hard to know
But
for
it's
sure.
the last bat that he ever ordered, and it's one of the last bats he ever touched. So
Yeah.
that's a special bat right there, and it's the real 38 ounce.
Yeah.
So the other one's a replica. This is the real deal right here.
Yeah. Well, one of my friends and heroes, Raymond St. Martin, introduced the two of us.
Yeah.
And
Great
it
guy.
seems to me like what Raymond and his team have done is maybe help solve the problem that you just brought up for the future, right? You said, is it the exact bat that he used? How can we know for sure?
Yeah.
So can you tell me a bit about Raymond's effort with his team at SIO and what they're doing in partnership with the Clemente Museum
Yeah.
and the social identity of objects, and how in the future things like this won't be a question mark. We'll know exactly
Yeah.
what happened with it, and everybody that interacts with it,
Yeah.
it kind of has a chance for that then to be part of the digital DNA of that.
Yeah, the
of that
SIO
thing.
team, they've been working with us now for a year to put together, some software and a way to figure out how to get, stories on all our things that we have and attach, some information to them, and then so we can keep learning about it. And
Yeah.
there's going to be people that were there that day. There's going to be people, we do them on our tours. Someone will come in and say, "Oh, I was there when the plane went down, and I saw," and they start talking to us, and we're like, "Wow, we've got to,"
Wow.
and it's hard to capture that. How do I can't tape record everybody that comes on tours. We're giving
Right.
hundreds and hundreds of people a week tours. And so we need them to go then and put a story in and tell us, about that. And it can help us identify items and photographs.
That's
and
right.
people in the photographs with Roberto. He would always get a kind of a group shot of who's ever around. He loved to be with the people. And so he'd get this shot and everybody's like, "That was my uncle. That was my dad." What's your dad's name? We need to know all these facts. And so this is going to be something breakthrough. This is going to be something that I can't even explain. I'm not very techie. I'm the old-fashioned guy.
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk to Raymond about
Yeah.
what he's doing exactly, because it's
Well-
way over my head.
Well, sometimes Raymond's such a visionary
He is.
that it's a little hard to understand. But let me explain from my
Yeah,
perspective,
okay.
because I've been listening to Raymond explain this for 6.5 years. It was at our office together when we used to do a lot of work for MLB and NFL and different sports people and teams. And he's like, "Ian, one day, everything is going to have an identity to be able to track what happened with it. What was the experience? This is the thing that
Yeah.
the 3,000th hit happened. Where was it at? What stadium? Who was in the stadium? And for the next 40 and maybe 400 years, this is preserved, and people interact with that object. And how can they be part of the story?" He's like, "One day everything will be tracked." He's telling me,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
And you're
"Okay."
like, "Come
Now
on."
it's hard to imagine how you use technology to do so, but over the last 6.5 years, Raymond and his team have very effectively developed out the tech to do this first for this museum. Why? Because Roberto Clemente is Raymond's hero, not just sport hero,
Yeah.
not just humanitarian hero, but he's just a hero. He would always talk about Roberto Clemente every time we were in client meetings, when we were out having drinks. It just would always come up. So I think that's why he originally connected with you.
Yeah.
And like, "Hey, can we serve you? Can we do something?" But of course, he'll bring it to many museums
Yeah.
and have a chance to say, "Hey, what we can do with our technology is unavailable by anybody else," and it's because Raymond is that visionary that speaks above the shelf.
Yep.
I try to bring the cookies down to the bottom shelf.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
This is what it is down here. It's real simple. Just track an identity so everybody can be part of the story.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So tell me about the museum that's happening in Pittsburgh. I understand this is a really big effort, and I think it's going to bless people, not just for this generation, but hopefully hundreds of years from now, right?
Yeah.
My great-great-great-great-great-grandson Matthew and great-great-great-great-granddaughter Elaine, if you're listening to this 150 years from now, I hope you visited the museum that's been staying for 150 years as it is today. So tell me about the legacy of what you're building.
Well, the good thing is the building's already like 150 years old, so we now,
Yeah.
we're into the next 150.
That's right.
We're definitely building something that can go on and forever.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's not about the baseball part of it as much. The baseball part for Roberto's over, but his mission and what he wanted to do, inspire other people and talk to, get into young kids' heads and get them thinking on the right track. We want to do that forever. And so
Yeah.
we're trying to right now lock everything down. We became a 501c3 so that eventually the museum will own everything as a 501c, and so then that way the entity will live on past me, because everybody's like, "What happens when you're gone?"
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's going to go on and on and on. So
Yeah.
with Raymond's help and his team, that's really going to get us to the next generation.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about Roberto's family and some of the things that are meaningful to them in this whole process? Because a lot of your interaction at first was with his widow and
Yeah.
now with his son and the rest of the family and close friends. Can you just talk a bit about how this is meaningful to them?
Yeah, who more so than the sons of the legend? They want their father's legend to go on forever, and so
As they should.
as we're helping in at least a little tiny fraction, we're helping somehow. And so they're they love what I'm doing, and Luis is going to be here hopefully tonight, and He's bringing some things of his mother's, Vera, who was our patron saint, and who just sadly passed away, and she's not going to get to see this opening in a couple days. But he lives for for people to be talking about his father every day. He's working really hard with the new kind of redesigned Clemente Foundation. So he's got his things going, and they have a charitable fundraiser coming up in April. They're going to do a golf tournament, and so they're working hard to keep their dad's legacy alive. We're working, together, but they're also doing, some of their own things, which is awesome.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? I mean, I think you and I could probably talk for hours.
Right? I tell people I could talk.
If you went on Joe Rogan's show, it'd be a 4-hour interview.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is not the Joe Rogan show. No. This is just Ian visiting Puerto Rico and jumping away from the ocean to come to this amazing place to meet you for a moment, because Raymond is such a good friend that if he asks me to do anything, my answer is yes.
Awesome.
So, final thoughts on things that we've discussed.
I hope that this can get out to people all around the island of Puerto Rico and people visiting. We're going to have this show going through the end of April. So
starts this Thursday.
Starts this.
So this Thursday, February 20th. What time do the doors open?
6 o'clock.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, and it goes all the way through April.
And it goes through April. We're catching those last three games that the Mets are going to play the Marlins here.
Great.
In Puerto Rico. So we're going to try to capture all those baseball fans that are coming to the island, and they should come over and see this. And then later that night, I'm a winemaker. I don't know if he told you, but
Raymond told me a bit about that.
And so we're going to be drinking this wine in Vera's honor.
That's
So
awesome.
maybe you can have a glass with us.
I would love to.
And Raymond, and we'll toast a little bit.
What a photo,
to
huh?
Vera. That's the most beautiful
What a photo.
image.
I mean, wow.
Here.
What a photo. That's quite something. How long have you been making wine for?
25 years
Okay.
in the museum. So the whole cellar of the museum is a winery, and
All
we
right.
sell barrels of wine to raise money for the museum.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
we have a club called the Clemente Society, and Yadier Molina's a member, and Carlos Beltran, and
Awesome.
and Anthony Rizzo, and Albert Pujols. By the way, all those guys are Clemente Award recipients.
Yeah.
And they have barrels, and they love our place, and they want to help. And the wine goes to help other charities.
That's great.
And so it's been an amazing thing what's happening, and the wine's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
we'll have a taste.
I love it. I'd like to.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for what you do.
You got it. You got it.
I've probably come to Puerto Rico 8 times in the last year and a half. Moved my company to Puerto Rico. My partners moved to Puerto Rico as my second home.
Congratulations.
And every time I bring up Roberto Clemente, because a lot of people I talk to are either locals who I really love, the people and the culture, or they're technology people. And I bring it up because of what Raymond's working on. Like, about Roberto Clemente, he's our hero. He's important. I mean, we look to him. And so I think what you've done is really honors the local people. So I think it's a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely. For everybody out there in social media land, we're out of here. I'll be back again soon.